Good night, everyone. Welcome to Appalachian Eclectic. It's late here in the shop, and I just finished making this cherry nut bolt. I'm not going to show you too much of it. Go watch to the end of the video. But doing a little bit different format, just testing some stuff out on the channel for those of you guys that's been watching me for a while. And why not? New year, try some new stuff, and see what I enjoy most, because at the end of the day, it's all that really matters. So I do want feedback. Let me know what you guys think about the new format. A lot less talking, and well, from me in person, stopping the camera. But so on this video, we went from literally the very beginning, where I cut a log into a piece and made a bowl blank and turned it all the way to what you just saw. So hope you enjoy, and here we go. All right, so right here you can see I'm setting up my blank, and I've got the piece of cherry log that I'm going to use, and all this is just some 1-inch black iron pipe from Home Depot, and I've got my little handy attachment there that goes on the grinder. Just got to make a flat spot to put the flange on the black iron pipe, and that's going to let me get my blank cut. So there you can see I went ahead and I'm about to screw the flange on on the log, and yes, it was cold. It was about 10 degrees outside, so I brought everything in to do this. And then the first thing I do is put my log on sideways, and it was wet and heavy and not the easiest thing to get on there. Alright, so once I decided how I want this thing done, or how with the burl on the one side, I'll go ahead and cut it in half. And now we are going to lay it out. So I'm just figuring where I can get the most use out of it. And this one came out to right about 12 inches for the blank. I've got my circle maker, which is just a rod with little holes in it and a sharpened point on one end. Just draw a circle so I can see about where I need to cut. And go to the electric chainsaw again, and all I'm doing right now is making it basically around, because it's going to save a lot of time on the lathe, and a lot of beating on your body and your hands, not having to knock the corners off on the lathe. Alright, and just to make things a little bit easier, since this piece wasn't too heavy, I went ahead and just put it on the bandsaw, took a couple more of the sharp corners on, because it does save a bit of time using the bandsaw. The rounder you have it when you put it on the lathe, the better. Alright, now we're back in the lathe room and just making a flat spot to mount the faceplate. And the faceplate is what is going to initially screw onto the lathe. And if you'll notice, I'm putting the faceplate on what is going to be the inside of the bolt. So all of that's going to come out, and that's why I don't have to worry about the screws leaving holes. So you have to make sure and decide where you want the opening of the bowl to be. All right, I'm using my bowl gouge. It's one of my favorite items to use. And sharp tools are the #1 most important thing when you're turning. So I sharpen about every 5 or 6 minutes. So, sharpen my gouge about 5 or 6 times throughout the course of making this bowl. And all I'm doing right now is using the Sharpie and marking the edges of the bowl, and that's going to let me know that I'm hitting the entire surface of my gouge and getting a nice even grind. It's going to extend the life of the tool and also give me consistent cuts every time. Sharpen both sides, and now we're ready to start turning. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm going to shape the outside of the bowl and get the lathe going as fast as I can without shaking. And you can hear the sound of it beating while I'm trying to get all the corners knocked off and get it round. All right, right here you can see I've got my chuck and I'm making what's called the mortise. And I'm just making sure that my hole is the right size. And you're going to see in just a moment what we're going to use this mortise for in our chuck. All right, so you can see that hole right there is where I'm going to mount my chuck. I just need to clean up and put a good 45-degree angle, or not quite, just a bevel in there going towards the outside of the bowl so that it won't fly off, or it makes it harder for the bowl to fly off at a high speed and go through a window or take your head off. Okay, so I've got the basic shape of the outside of the bowl how I want it, and now you can see I'm putting the chuck sets inside of that mortise. I'm going to tighten it down nice and tight. Do not want it flying off by any means, and it's just going to screw back on the lathe, and now we'll be ready to get started on the inside of the bowl. right, right here I'm measuring my depth, and I'm gonna start with what's called a Forstner bit. And my GoPro messed up when I was doing this, but you can see this bit, it lets me get my depth set so I know exactly where the bottom needs to be. Plus it takes out part of the meat so that you don't have to turn it. And here we go, getting started on the inside using my bowl gouge. And I'm just going to make small cuts to the side. That lets me keep the depth about even. And from this point, it's just going to be hollowing it out. Sharpening, hollowing, sharpening, hollowing, sharpening, till everything's done. Alright, so like I said, sharpening. I don't know if I got all the sharpening on the camera. And with the inside, I'm switching to a curved rest, and that's going to let me be able to keep my tool closer to the wood and reach inside further into the center of the bowl, because you really don't want your tool, whatever that is, to be more than really an inch from the wood. So as you go inwards, you have to keep adjusting your tool rest so that your gouge is closer and closer and closer, and you don't get any catches and hurt yourself or mess up your bowl. All right, so we just finished getting it turned, and now just give it a good look over. This is just a better shot. You can see how that chuck tightens into the mortise. It turned out pretty good. The last thing I've got to do, now you can see this pith. That's the center where a branch came out, and we are going to apply some super glue to the center of that, inside and outside, and that's just going to help prevent it from cracking, because that's where everything cracks. All right, everybody. Well, here you can see I did last night, when I finished with this, put a coat of half and half Elmer's glue and water, believe it or not. Mix that up and put on here, and what it's going to do is help slow down how fast it dries and help keep it from cracking. So you can see this one turned out really good. Most of the bark stayed in place. One spot right there, and that's actually where I hit it with the little grinder to make the flat spot, but overall I think it turned out really good. Just a little nut bowl, I guess is what you call this, and it actually is more round. It's more of an optical illusion because it's turned on the lathe. You know, it is round, the bottom is, you can see, and the top is a little bit oblong. But I think the Liveedge bowls are really, really cool. And so now we're gonna let this one dry for a couple days, and then we'll finish sanding it and put a pretty finish on it. So I think that, I think all things considered, this one turned out really nice here. Definitely no complaints. I was hoping it would be just a little bit prettier of a grain. Oh well. But you can see we're getting a nice, getting a little bit of inventory made. Its store will be open probably next week, and we have a show in May in Spruce Pine here that I'm hoping to get into. Already contacted them, so I'll be letting you guys know about that real soon. But we've got to get a whole lot of stuff finished up and ready to go. All right, guys. Well, let me know what you thought about the new format with the voiceover. Still a little bit different, not a whole lot, but appreciate y'all watching. Make sure and like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time.